Hi everybody, and welcome back to your second day of mental health first aid training. My name's Leslie Reid. I'm going to be your trainer for this module, which is self-harm. My background is I work for Lancashire Association for Mental Health, and we deliver support services to people in the community in their own homes who are living with mental illness. And as I said, I'm going to be running you through the self-harm module. I have 10 minutes and I'm going to do a micro session on self-harm. But I just wanted to recap on the care module that you covered yesterday, the toolkit and acronym that we all call upon, that we will all pull upon when we are helping somebody and supporting somebody with their ill health. The care part of it is about checking with suicide and harm, and I just wanted to re-emphasise that people who self-harm often don't think about suicide, which for people who are new, who have no knowledge of self-harm, can be quite hard to get your head around. But people who self-harm don't necessarily want to die, and they haven't had thoughts of suicide, although some people do report of having thoughts of suicide. But what is self-harm? Well, self-harm is when somebody intentionally damages or injures themselves, and it's usually a way of coping or expressing feelings of distressed emotions, and it can affect people of all ages and genders. 1 in 7 adult males report self-harm, and 1 in 5 adult females report self-harm. We know that in Scotland, the statistics are that a lot of 15-16-year-olds, 40% of 15-16-year-olds have intentionally self-harmed or know somebody that has self-harmed, and that's based on the Office of National Statistics from 2019. So the types of self-harm, it can range from minor injury to quite life-threatening behaviour. So people can often describe to you that people, they may pick, they pull their hair, they may bite their nails to the point they, drawing blood, through to people self-harming where they're, deeply wounding themselves. They may require to get treatment for their injuries because they're so severe. And the reasons for self-harming is there's lots of reasons for self-harming. People, often self-harm because it makes them feel better. They'll describe to you as a release of endorphins, and it gives them that lift, albeit as a temporary lift. They'll describe to you as having, uncontrollable trauma in their life, and it's a way of paying attention to themselves when maybe other things haven't. Other people haven't paid attention to themselves. And they sometimes describe to you as well as it's a relief. It's a relief of the overwhelming emotional pain. The reasons, as a first aider, the reasons for self-harming is not something that we are encouraging you to do. You don't actually need to understand or know the reasons for self-harm, although it's a human. I think it's a human response to why you're doing that to yourself. However, as for a first aider, for us to apply the care toolkit, we are first aiders and we are averting a crisis. Signs of self-harm, it's often associated with other mental health conditions such as, signs of depression, signs of anxiety, signs of eating disorders. And the obvious sign is, scars or obvious harm to themselves, bald patches in their hair, a scab that's not healing over, it's bleeding, it's constantly picked, it's getting infected. These are all possible signs of self-harm. And some first aid for self-harm. When we talk about first aid for self-harm, it's that we use a first aider assessing that. making quite natural judgment calls sometimes. You know, the purpose of the training is not to make you a counsellor or a physical expert or a psychological expert. It's about you intervening at the moment of crisis. So it's about opening up that discussion with people, not ignoring it, and being sensitive and being non-judgmental when you're approaching the person. If they have got signs of wounds, then we have to concentrate on that and let the person know that, you know, that you're a first aider. I'm a mental health first aider. I recognise that, you know, there's some things that could be going on for you. Do you know, I'm open to listening to you just now. However, I appreciate that, you know, this might not be the time. So it's about being sincere and genuine, giving people some room to talk. Not necessarily at that moment in time, but they could come back to you. So I think it's important for them to let them know that you're a mental health first aider and you have some knowledge. And once the person's safe, it's about treatments that are available. So what treatment could possibly be available? Often people need some psychological treatments, so some talking therapy such as cognitive behavioural therapy, counselling, some NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, various things. There's various therapies the treatments that are available. But I think as a first aider, it's about letting the person know that there are treatments available, that, you know, if you want to, you have learned to use this as a coping mechanism, so you could learn other coping mechanisms as well. So it's about giving people hope that they can recover from this. To get cognitive behavioural therapy, there's private practices. The NHS facilities in Scotland can provide CBT therapists to the person, but if you were looking for a reputable one, then COSCA, the counselling, the COSCA is a body within that register all counsellors and CBT therapists. And the last thing you probably want to do is signpost people for treatment. So there's lots of resources online. Mind has got a particularly good website. There is a video that I would play for you if I had time today, somebody describing their experience of self-harm, how they had supported a friend, and that they then realised, you know, they then were able to help that friend, but because of things that was going on in their life, they started to use that as a coping mechanism as well. It's an animated video, and as I said, it would be something that would play for you if we had time in this 10 minutes. But the Mind website's got lots of information on it, lots of different resources. What I would say, however, is that when you're signposting people to resources, to ensure you may want to do that together with the person, because the last thing you want to do is, if you're recommending leaflets or reading material or stuff like that, you don't want to trigger anything for that particular person. So sometimes it's quite helpful to sit with the person and read with the person and kind of step them through it. You might both be learning reading it for the first time together, but that's okay, do you know. But it just shows you that it's emphasising to the person that you actually care, and you're going that bit extra to actually help them, because often they may have tried to discuss this before and people have dismissed them. So that's a whistle-stop tour of self-harm. I'm hoping you've gained some knowledge from that, and I would welcome any questions about the subject. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll finish it at that. Thank you.